صوت الغد سوريا. الله محيي الجيش، الله محيي الجيش، الله محيي الجيش.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
My journey to America can be traced back to the independence of India, the land of my fathers. Barack Obama's journey to America can be traced back to the independence of Kenya, the land of his fathers.
Tonight, because of what we did on this day, in this election, at this defining moment, change has come to America.
The U.S. government has not had a budget for over 1,000 days and counting.
So what he's doing is pitting one class of Americans against another.
And we can't afford the same political games and tactics that always pit us against one another.
We are all shaped by our pasts, and we carry elements of the past into the future. But we have to be careful, because nothing can rob the future quite as much as the debts of the past.
When Congress refuses to act, then I have an obligation as president to do what I can without them.
Barack has led by example. When we took our trip to Africa and visited his home country in Kenya, we took a public HIV test.
Presidential candidate Barack Obama is trying to change political fashion. He gave a speech in Iowa City today, and he wasn't wearing an American flag pin. Those pins have become synonymous with politicians since 9/11. Obama says he doesn't like how the pin has come to represent patriotism in America.
I decided I won't wear that pin on my chest. Instead, I'm going to try to tell the American people what I believe will make this country great. And hopefully, that will be a testimony.
From sea to side to sea, Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, gay Americans, whether these times over, I'm free. I'm on.
Dog is that?
That's his right son. They're just going to move him across that.
What part? Can you give me an idea what part of the dog that is?
Up on his thigh of his leg.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
You looked at the documents that he provided online.
His tax returns. I mean, it's not just any document. His official tax returns that he filed with IRS.
And you took his social security number and you e-verified that through what database?
Both E-Verify and SSMAs. There are two major organizations, official agencies of the Social Security Administration that can be used to check whether it's a valid Social Security number. E-Verify and SSMAs. I have here the papers. I'll be happy to give you them so you can post it online. Both show that the Social Security number that Barack Obama is using or used in 2009 in his tax returns, which is 042684425, was never assigned to him. The first three digits in the Social Security number signify the state. 042 was assigned to the state of Connecticut. Only last year they were randomized by Obama administration, but until then were assigned by the states, so it was suspicious right away. And it was confirmed by multiple investigators, yes, indeed, the number that he's using most of his life is a number that was never assigned to him. We actually found who was it was assigned to. It was an individual born in 1890 who was an immigrant in this country. He came from Russia, actually. His name is Harry or Harrison J. Bonnell. The gentleman had no children. When he passed away, he had no children. And apparently his death was never provided to either Social Security Administration or to the state of Connecticut where he lived. And this number was assumed by Barack Obama from about 1986.
So how do you think that he was able to pull that off?
Yes, it's a good question. We found that also at some point he used another Social Security number. And what's important about it, that it was assigned to one Lucille Balantin, the mother of Harry C. Balantin, the chief actuary of the Social Security Administration. Obama wouldn't be that bold to use the Social Security number of the deceased mother of the chief actuary of Social Security unless he knew that this chief actuary would not make any noise about it. And there is a good possibility that Mr. Balantin is complicit, and I actually reached him. I was able to reach Harry C. Balantin and asked him about it, and his response was quite suspicious. He stated, well, they have no rights. I said, who has no rights? He said, deceased people have no rights. You know what, if somebody were to use your deceased relatives, and God forbid, deceased mother, Social Security number, wouldn't you be concerned? Your response would be, oh my God, it's a thief who's using my mother's Social Security number. But his response was quite different.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide. I have to say that over the last 2.5 years, I have watched with bemusement. I've been puzzled at the degree to which this thing just kept on going. We've had every official in Hawaii, Democrat and Republican, every news outlet that has investigated this, confirm that, yes, in fact, I was born in Hawaii, August 4th, 1961, in Kapiolani Hospital. We've posted the certification that is given by the state of Hawaii on the internet for everybody to see.
Okay, so I made 2 videos yesterday about Obama's birth certificate that was released by the White House, and I've had a bunch of comments saying that I should try it with my birth certificate to see if the same thing happens. So we'll do this live. Here's my birth certificate, all right, and we're going to scan this. And we're going to use what Adobe Acrobat calls OCR software. And what that does is it should recognize the text of my birth certificate. So we're going to do a custom scan. 300 DPI should be enough, but let's increase it. Let's make it 600, just for fun. Why not? And down here you're going to see optimize scan and also make searchable, which is in quotes as run OCR. So we're running that specific software. We're going to hit scan. It's going to take a second to do that. So while it's doing that, let's go to the whitehouse.gov website, which is where the official birth certificate is. As you can see down here, I've already downloaded it twice, but I'm going to show you so you can see each and every step. I'm going to download it a 3rd time. So just save it over top of that one. Yes, I'd like to replace the file. And then we're going to go to Adobe Illustrator. In Adobe Illustrator, I'm going to open up that birth certificate that I just saved on my desktop. I'll open that up. And I'll show you what I did in yesterday's video. I clicked on the image, went to Object, this is Adobe Illustrator, went to Clipping Mask, Release, and as you can see, there's a couple of strange extra boxes, but the strangest part is, number 1, obviously I can release that background, which you'll be able to see. I should be able to do on my birth certificate, but the problem is that when I go to Layers here, you're going to see these individual pieces of text disappearing, okay? Watch as they come back up as I complete the layers. Now, if I'm right, this should not happen on my birth certificate because I've not edited anything on mine. This is an original scan. Let's go back to Acrobat Pro. If you couldn't see that, it just said OCR complete, which means it was trying to read the text inside the image of my birth certificate. All right, and here it is. This is my birth certificate. So now what we're going to do is we'll save it. And I'll save it as birth cert 1. We'll hit save. And we'll go to Adobe Illustrator. And we're going to open up birth cert 1, which is right here. Open that up. And I'm going to do the same exact thing that I did to Obama's. We'll go to Object, Clipping Mask, Release. Now I should be able, yes, I could take, see I took text and I took it off of the paper, which I expected to happen. And this is also what I expected to happen. So as you can see, I cannot get rid of individual text. I can only get rid of either the entire background image, all of that text, and then this layer doesn't seem to do anything. Nothing seems to disappear. So as you can see, the difference is on Obama's, I can literally get rid of individual. See them disappearing as I'm clicking on these layer masks? Watch the stuff just come right back up. And if you couldn't see that, I'll zoom in and I'll let you see it a little bit closer, that this stuff just seems to disappear. See that? Individually disappear. Stuff is just disappearing and reappearing as I click on these masks. One last thing you'll notice, different between his certificate and mine, is that I have a seal. I'll zoom in on my seal, you'll be able to see the seal. There's a seal from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania on mine, and on his there's no seal, which I find interesting. So that's my video, and I don't think I need to show anybody else any more information. I've done exactly what everyone has asked me to do. I scanned in my own birth certificate using the OCR recognition software, and I cannot duplicate what happened to his birth certificate. So, mystery.
Which passages of Scripture should guide our public policy? Should we go with Leviticus, which suggests slavery is okay? Or we could go with Deuteronomy, which suggests stoning your child if he strays from the faith? Or should we just stick to the Sermon on the Mount, a passage that is so radical that it's doubtful that our own Defense Department would survive its application? Folks haven't been reading their Bible. Many other Americans have Muslims in their families or have lived in a Muslim majority country. I know because I am one of them. Assalamu alaikum. As a boy, I spent several years in Indonesia and heard the call of the azan at the break of dawn. I have known Islam on 3 continents before coming to the region where it was first revealed. That experience guides my conviction. You're absolutely right that John McCain has not talked about my Muslim faith. But my father came from a Kenyan family that includes generations of Muslims.
I'm looking forward to meeting with President Barack Obama without preconditions to negotiate our demands of submit or die. We have much in common, the same supporters, the same allies, and we both have friends who blew up the Pentagon.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.